Top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning, man. It'll be the afternoon by the time y'all get this vlog. But salute to everybody, man. Hope you guys is having a good Thursday. Hope you're having a good week. I am headed to, I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas right now. So I'm headed to Dallas, Texas. And then from Dallas, Texas, I gotta go to Laredo, Texas. A lot of y'all might not know about Laredo, but if you are in the trucking business, then you gotta know about Laredo because that is a big hub for a lot of stuff to come in and then be transported across the border into Mexico. So a lot of people go to Laredo. It's a big hub, so that's where I gotta go to next. It's right down below Houston and below Corpus Christi, and then you get into Laredo right at the border. So salute to everybody, man. Battle rap, it's a lot of battle rap going on. Head Ice and Serious Jones is gonna be heating up probably a little bit more from what I'm understanding. It seems like Jones ain't letting this stuff go, so I think he might have some new information coming. I don't really know, but we got the Diddy case. I didn't really talk a whole lot about the Diddy case. Never did a blog, but I'm definitely invested. I want to see what happened. He gets sentenced tomorrow, so he's gonna know his fate. And you know, what do y'all think? I think he's going to get 4 to 5 years. That's what I think. Just to recap what happened. Let me just recap what happened, or as far as like what he's dealing with anyway. He was found guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. That's the Mann Act, you know, across state lines. 2 counts of that. Each count holds 10 years. So if you do it consecutively, I guess you could give him 20 years. I don't see that happening, but that's the worst case scenario. He was found not guilty on 2 counts of sex trafficking and 1 count of racketeering. So he basically beat the major charges, stuff that was going to give him life in prison. And I'm going to be real with you, Diddy won this case. It's a win for him no matter what happens tomorrow. It's still a win for him. I feel like he won this case when he was able to get 8 men on the jury, which was pretty astounding that he was able to do that. You know, anytime you're dealing with a sexual case and involves women and stuff like that, a lot of the prosecution will try to get a lot of women on the case for like sympathy and, you know, feeling like women understand other women. The fact that he was able to get 8 men on there, I felt like was pretty groundbreaking that he was able to do that. But he got that, and I thought then that it'd be hard to get him on a lot of these charges because a lot of this stuff honestly just seemed like it was consensual, you know what I'm saying, as far as the sex acts or whatever was consensual, and just some of the testimony I don't think just lined up, and I'll go over that in a minute. So I felt like that was kind of where the case was actually won for him, if I'm being honest. But he gets sentenced tomorrow. I think he will get 4 to 5 years, if I'm being honest. Cassie wrote a letter to the judge talking about she is having nightmares and still thinking about the case. She fears for her life. She has to move out of New York, her family out of New York to another place and everything like that. They're weighing heavily on the video, still saying that he's a monster and he's this or that, even though he wasn't charged with anything in the video, the hotel joint, but they still using it to kind of say that this is who he is and he doesn't need to get off. And you know, that's a disappointing thing about trial, because you have your right to a jury trial, but then if you lose, then the niggas be trying to max you out. Or if you lose any parts of the trial, it's almost like they try to get you still because you went through the trouble of putting taxpayers' money through a trial. So it's kind of weird on that. I didn't really understand this RICO thing in the beginning. I thought it was a reach, if I'm being real, because I was just like, okay, you think RICO, you think a lot of people, you think an organization, you think of multiple people involved, but they were only focusing on Diddy. And a lot of people, whether it was Cassie, whether it was Jane Doe, whether it was you know, bodyguards and assistants and everything, everybody else pretty much got immunity to everything, and it just became about Diddy. And I thought the RICO was mostly just because they kind of wanted to take his money. If he had lost the RICO case, they could have really went after all his bread, and he would have had, you know, most of his wealth would have been gone. He's still probably worth about $350 million, but most of his wealth would have been gone through the RICO Act. And I felt like that's what they were trying to do. I didn't really feel like they had a RICO case, if I'm being honest. But I think there was some mistakes in this case. I feel like I can't condone the hotel video. I can't condone how he treated Cassie over the years. I do feel like he was manipulative. I do feel like he was violent. I do feel like he was abusive, and I do feel like he depends on a lot of drugs. So there's a lot of things you can call Diddy right now. You can call him a woman beater. You can call him a drug user, or whatever the case. When it comes to the sexual acts, it does seem like they were consensual. There was a lot of testimony that sometimes Cassie would set up the freak offs on her own. There would be testimony that, you know, sometimes she would text him about doing freak offs. Some of the sex workers said Cassie was never under any duress during these freak offs and stuff like that, and she was demanding certain male escorts over other male escorts and stuff like that. So I never kind of got the whole, you know, I felt like everything, as far as that, I felt like it was consensual. So some of the testimony that Dawn had, you know, she was part of the Dirty Money. I think her testimony wasn't really that good. She basically said that she saw him doing violent things, but she didn't really do anything about it. I thought her testimony really didn't really hurt or help. The Jane Doe testimony, we know Jane Doe to be the person that was dating 50 or 50's baby mom, ex-baby mama, something like ex-girl, baby mama. She was dating Diddy, and she basically was still getting her rent paid from Diddy. She said she still wanted to be with Diddy. So she's trying to say he's this person, but she's also trying to say, like, I still wanted to be with him, but he was with Young Miami, and I was getting jealous about that. I still wanted to be with him, which was a little conflicting. He's still paying her rent, which was $10,000 a month, which was a little conflicting. And even now, she's saying that she was coerced into testifying. Like, she didn't even want to testify, but they was like trying to put pressure on her. So her testimony was a little weird. So when you think of 8 men on a jury, it's hard to get. You got to get everybody on a jury to be on one accord for you to be found guilty. And I just felt like somebody's not gonna think that he was guilty. So I didn't really think it would be what it was. I feel like another problem with this case, they built this case up to be like a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had you thinking maybe the baby oil is laced. Maybe there's some drug in the baby oil, and when you spray it on their bodies, it absorbs in the pores, and it just makes them unconscious and to thinking right, and Diddy can take control. You had that rumor out there. You had a lot of rumors about Diddy being gay. I'm not saying that he ain't got some weird fetishes, but you never had any male escorts like, yo, Diddy like was trying to have sex with me, or Diddy was like, you know, messing with me. Or you didn't really have that testimony, which I thought it would be, but there wasn't any testimony like that. They said that there was sex tapes and that celebrities were on there, and maybe certain celebrities didn't want to be outed, but they were never, any sex tapes with celebrities was never exposed or even said to have any celebrities on there. And that's why all the Meek Mill rumors and all this other stuff, that maybe there was some sex tapes with some celebrities out there that no celebrities ever got exposed. Spiked drinks. There was a thing like, oh, they had searched his hotel room and different stuff, and they found like the date rape drug, and they was wondering if he was date raping, you know, Cassie and some of these other people, and they weren't in their right mind when they were doing this. When the testimony came out, it just looked like, yeah, maybe he had control over Cassie, maybe with her career, and maybe she was just going along, but it just seemed like he just texted her like, I want to do a freak off, and she was just like, you know, cool. A couple times she said she wasn't in the mood right now, but it was never kind of like, you're forcing me to do freak offs. I can't, like, it was never those kind of text messages being exposed. And I think when you put a lot of stuff out there in the media, this is what will come from it. Like, Combs is doing all of this stuff, and he has the, you know, baby oil and 1,000 bottles of baby oil, and you focus on stuff like this so much, and then you come out to realize that you don't have no celebs on no tapes, no spiked drinks, no laced up baby oil, no weird testimony. I thought the escorts helped Diddy more than anything, because they were just like, yo, Cassie sometimes hit me up on her own, and Cassie seems like she was okay with everything, and she was never under any duress. Those kind of things actually helped Diddy. But at the end of the day, man, there's a way for you to kind of, I definitely don't think he's getting time served. I don't even think that's an option. So when people be like, oh, Diddy's coming home, he will not be home tomorrow. Like, I feel like there's zero chance of that happening. I think he would have got bond. The fact that he didn't get bond was a little shocking to me over the multiple times he tried. I just felt like, you take his passport, you don't have access to his private jet no more. I felt like he got a lot of family here. So I felt like he was a good risk to at least get on house arrest. And other people with similar crimes to him were on house arrest. So the fact that he wasn't was a little bit shocking. But I think there's a way that you could give him some time. Like, we'll give you like 4 or 5 years, but we won't throw the book at you. And then everybody is a little bit appeased. Diddy it's a little bit of a win for Diddy, but it's kind of not a win because he's not coming home. But at the same time, you didn't just let him off. So you don't got to deal with all this public pressure of, oh, Diddy just did all this stuff or whatever, and then he just went home. So I think 4 to 5 years. At first, I thought he might get 2 years, and he's already done a year. I was like, he might be home in 6 months. But now that the letters came out, now that the prosecution is requesting 11 years, which I'm not surprised by that, but people are actually writing the judge, and, Diddy trying to go in front of the judge the day before and get this case overturned. I don't know. Like, sometimes you can ask for too much, I guess is what I'm saying. My lawyer tried to explain this to me when I was in court. So check this out. See how I can explain this. Diddy beats the RICO, so he beats the major stuff, okay? He gets off he only found guilty on the lighter stuff. So it's like, okay, he's not going to get that much time. A lot of legal experts saying like, he might only get 2-3 years or whatever. He already done a year. He'll be home soon. He goes in front of the judge the day before, and he basically tries to say he's a changed man, and he tries to throw out his conviction. But there's a part of you that has to breathe a sigh of relief that you actually kind of won the case. You won trial in a way. You went to trial for the major shit. You was found out guilty of it, so you got off on that. You got found guilty of minor stuff. You kind of won. Like, of what you was facing, you kind of won. Chill within that moment. Be humble that you won. Be grateful that you won. Be appreciative that you won. And kind of take whatever comes with you after that. Just take it and say, okay, this is God's fate or whatever. When you go in front of the judge and be like, I want this conviction overturned. Now you're trying to get the whole case overturned. You're trying to get a new trial a couple days before the hearing. It doesn't seem like you're, I guess, as remorseful. It doesn't seem like you're as appreciative of the fact that you really kind of got off in this case, and I ain't gonna say got off, because I don't ever like to use someone that's found not guilty as getting off. You were found not guilty on the major stuff, and it's a win for you. And sometimes it's like, don't try to do too much and be like, I need a new trial and we need to redo this, because the judge ain't gonna want to do that shit. And it's gonna be like, in one breath you're saying that you've repented, in one breath you're saying that you're a changed person, in another breath you're like, this shit wrong, I need a new trial. And I think it sends mixed messages, and I think that's gonna actually hurt him more tomorrow. And I actually think he's gonna get like 4 or 5 years. He's already done a year, so yeah, maybe the rest of the 2020s, it's probably he might probably end up in jail. He might get out in about 3 years or something, but I think anywhere from 48 to 60 months is probably what he's going to end up getting. I hope he can get out. I really do. I hate to see people behind bars. I hope he can get out. I'm not really sure if he can get out. I know the judge is a federal judge, which means he's appointed. I don't know if he's a Republican. I don't know if he's a Democrat. I don't know which way he leans on certain issues, but there is no pressure for him to rule any particular way. He's not an elected official. You don't vote on him. He's already appointed, which means he's good in that position of being a federal judge. But at the same time, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. There's a lot of talk about whether Trump, if he gets found guilty, whether Trump will pardon him. Now, I don't know if y'all realize what's going on with Trump. Trump is pardoning a lot of people that are paying him, which is crooked, although it's legal. But Trump is doing some things that no president really has been doing. Because let's just say you commit a crime and you're found guilty and they give you 5 years. Let's just say you took you defrauded people, you took a whole bunch of people's money on a Ponzi scheme. they'll give you your, let's just say they give you 10 years, and they also tell you that you have to pay $5 million in restitution. So what Trump is doing to anybody who donates to him, right? He is pardoning you, and when he pardons you, it gets rid of your 5 years or your 10-year term, so you don't do any prison time, but it also gets rid of your retribution. You don't have to pay any money. So people have been paying Trump, a lot of these white collar crimes, they've been paying Trump money, donating to his campaign, paying $1 million for a dinner to sit down with the president, and then 2 months later he's like, yo, pardon that guy. And they pardon him, and all his crimes get wiped away. And they saying that no president has ever been that egregious with doing that. You know what I'm saying? I know Biden pardoned his son or whatever, but they said he's pardoned like billions of retribution dollars. So people have basically cheated Americans, and their retribution has been wiped away, which is bullshit. Now, Diddy got a lot of money too. He's still worth $350 million. Could Diddy write a little? Could his family write a little check to Trump on a pardon? It's very possible. Other people have been doing that. Other people have been donating, giving money. You know what I'm saying? If you ever hear down the road that Janice Combs or somebody, you know what, they donated $2 million to the Trump campaign, and he's pardoned, that will be why. It'll be why. He paid his way to get out of jail. I know I'm going down a rabbit hole, but it's not not that much of a rabbit hole when you think about it. Don't be surprised. But I do think he'll get 4 to 5 years. And I don't think it's far-fetched that he could be pardoned. I know he said a lot of things about Trump, but Trump has kind of a way of doing some stuff, and then he'll do some shit way to the left. So maybe down the road, that's a possibility. But 4 to 5 years, my guy. I think that's what he'll do. Y'all let me know in the comment section how much time y'all think he will get. But at first I was leaning towards 2 to 3. Now I'm on a 4 to 5. I don't think he comes home tomorrow, and I don't think he gets the 11 years that the prosecution is looking for, but I think it's somewhere in the middle, and I guess everybody can say they quote-unquote won a little bit. But that's my thoughts, Chris Unbiased. I'll be back to let y'all know what I think after he's sentenced, but as of right now, holla at your boy.